Guys and girls, we are live. We are live coming to you here. If you're watching this live right now, you're on either Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. If you're watching it on replay, this has been emailed out to you by the team at Realtair and, of course, by the Real Estate Gym. But I'm really excited today because, hey, Aaron, good to see you coming on. I'm really excited today because the gentleman that we have on the other side of the screen to my right is Kevin Buchanan from the great real estate company out there in the hills, of course, Manor Real Estate. And I'm just over the moon today because this man here is a tech agent, high tech, high touch. He writes the numbers. He works for one of the great brands. And he's one of the guys that have been able to use technology not to substitute him, to complement him, to be able to list and to sell more real estate, not bleeding edge, which some tech products are, but cutting edge. Good to see you, Kevin. How are you going?
Good, thank you, Tommy. Thanks for having me. What's going on?
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Now, listen, I'd love you to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself. Yeah, your business unit, all that sort of stuff. Give people a bit of a background.
So, guys, just a brief introduction about myself. I've been in real estate for 10 years now. I spent 5-6 years as a sales assistant in the Hills District. And then I ended up making the move to be an agent about 4.5 years ago now. First couple of years were pretty tough. First year I did, I think, maybe 200. Second year we did 450. Third year we did 968. Last year we did 2.1. So it's been a consistent, steady rise and growth for me. The first 2 years as my own agent, I was by myself, standalone agent, no assistants. Third year we put on our first. At this point in time, we've got 4 assistants within our team. So we've got 3 sales associates and an admin assistant. We're all running 6 days a week. It's a fun team. It's a good team, and we're really having fun. The market's changed, obviously. But yeah, like Tommy said, technology is complementing us at the moment, and definitely at the moment, it's helping us win listings in a tough market for sure, as well as having lickable information when going into vendor meetings. It works a charm.
So when we were talking yesterday, Kevin, you made a very valid point. A lot of the times, just the simple knowledge the client that you're speaking to has an understanding that you are tech-oriented, gives you this unfair advantage.
Definitely.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Sorry, just cut out.
Sorry, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so look, I'm not sure what areas everyone's listening to, but especially in the Hills District in Sydney, there's definitely a mix of younger agents like myself, but you've also got a lot of older agents, which are still good agents nonetheless, but they're a little bit technology illiterate. They haven't, they've kind of been left behind. They think it's okay, we don't need the technology. We can still come into a listing appointment with, a printed CMA, which I still bring, but they'll drop post-list packs that are paper. They'll drop pre-list packs that are paper. Now, I'll still incorporate a in-person post-list pack, which has candles, a bit of information about why we should be the guys. But where we get them in terms of other agents, we're using Realtair for pre-list and post-list pitches, which has been huge for us. A lot of the time we're walking into listings that we've sent out a pre-list pitch from Realtair after the first 20 minutes of getting off the phone. They look at the information. It looks good. It looks pretty. It's got links to other videos and stuff that they can see me. So it's an online resume for me. I turn up to the house and, I'm seeing post-list packs that are like old CMAs, and it just doesn't look so good. I'm walking in. They've already said they know that I'm a younger guy. Yes, in the area at the moment.
How old are you, Kevin?
27.
Mate, hey, everyone listening, 27 years of age, writing over 2 million in GCI. This is what we're talking about. Keep going.
Yeah. So we'll send out pre-list pitch as we walk in, and sometimes it feels like we've already won the listing, simply from looking and feeling more professional. Now, obviously, you have to act the part as well, so your listing presentation has to be on point. But then you get to the post list, and let's say we don't sign it up on the spot, we're sending another post list pitch via Realtair, again reedifying and solidifying the reason why we should be the guys. In listing appointments as well, something I picked up off Adrian Oddie from Bressick Whitney. A lot of the time when I'm talking about price and going through information, I'm not really using a paper CMA anymore. I'm using realestate.com on the iPad. I'm using domain.com on the iPad. Everything at the moment that we're doing is pretty much technology based. I have an office at the moment in Balcombe Hills. I'm barely there. I barely use it. I barely use a computer. Everything's on my phone. Everything's through Realtair.
Now, what I was going to ask you, Kevin, is can you describe your team firstly?
Yeah.
Before I ask you, like the people that work with you. You're the lead agent, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So who else is in the team?
So we've got young Tommy. Tommy's just turned 20 years old. He's been with me for about a year now. We've got Nick. Nick's been with me for 10 months now, but he's 24. Both young guys, both in the stages of starting to go out to selling appointments. Nick's starting to get there. Tom's been doing it for a little bit. In the morning, we meet at 8 a.m. in the morning. We do a 15-minute catch up, find out what we're doing for the day. Then we're doing 45-minute call blocks until midday. Midday, they break half an hour for lunch. And then from 12:30 until 6:30, they're either door knocking, they're at non-selling market appraisals, they're at selling appraisals which are out of area that I may not want. They are doing vendor feedback reports, they're doing private buyer inspections, they're doing open houses. We've then got Zach, who he's kind of progressed a little bit to the point where he's at the stage where he's going out to a lot more listing appointments now. He's listed a couple, but still essentially doing the exact same roles as Tom and Nick. He's 22. And then they only do dollar productive activities. They won't spend any time doing CMAs. Then you've got Jen. Jen's pretty much the mom of our group. She's actually the real leader of the team. She's 45 years old. She gives us the direction and the structure that we need. I think a lot of people as sales agents, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but we're not very organized. So having someone there to organize us has been amazing. She prepares all of our CMAs. She essentially does everything for us to make sure that we're on the phones or on the doors or in people's houses. That's our team at the moment. Now
you got a videographer, right?
Yeah. So we've now expanded to the point where we've put on a full-time videographer and photographer. We're using here. I am outsourcing him as well, just so you're aware. So I'll outsource him to, we're doing some stuff with Bressick Whitney at the moment. We're doing a couple of things for the guys in the office. So we're outsourcing him as well. But the main reason why I've got him is to actually propel me in the social media space as well. So he's doing all my photos and videos as well. So the main reason I actually got into this or started this was, why would I go pay someone else to take photos and videos when we can go charge our own company? So instead of making someone else money, let's make the money ourselves. Then we've ended up, obviously, as an add-on bonus, we've gone, well, let's use this to our advantage. So last week I recorded a video. We're starting to do community videos where last week I took a video with a local mechanic, 20-second clip, recorded it with my videographer saying, hey guys, here's John from Bodytech Automotive. He's a family-run mechanic. He told us a bit about ourselves. And I said, hey, John, if my clients come forward and mention my name, will you give them a 10% discount on their service? And he said, yes. So doing those sorts of things. We've just started a podcast, both sides of the fence. We're about 30 episodes deep. We've had a lot of guys like Bill Maloof and all those guys come on our podcast too. Helps us learn at the same time. So even though we're doing okay at the moment, it's always an opportunity to learn from great agents. Secondly, it's giving me leverage in the marketplace where I'm seen as a market leader or thought leader within the industry. And thirdly, it's also expanding expanding my area of influence and the referrals that I can get from other agents too. Now we're also cutting up those clips. We're putting it on Instagram. Some of the reels are getting thousands and thousands of views. So I think at the moment, what we're trying to do and segue into at the moment is use this videographer and photographer to really push us into the social media space, because you see people like Lisa Novak and a few of those types of guys, they're killing it on social media, and a lot of their business is from there. It's the new world.
She's on you watching too. So what I was going to ask you is, roughly, what do you have to pay for a videographer to come on board? Roughly. I mean, don't have to be specific.
Hey, honestly, we had a big range where you're paying anywhere between $1,000 to $1,800 a week, depending on what type of quality videography you're getting. But it's essentially the same cost as another assistant, and it's up to you what way you look at it.
And can I ask you, do they come into the office every day?
No, they can. They have the option to, but at the same time, because my associate's going between, my videographer's going between the hills and the inner west at the moment. That's where our clients are. He lives in Ryde. He's staying and working a lot from home. However, when he has shoots in the hills, yeah, he's at my office.
Okay. So, Kevin,
yes,
social media, you mentioned to me yesterday, you're finding a group. It's an area that most people in real estate, it's a bit of trial and error. They do something. They're sort of the subject and the scientist. You're learning as you're going along.
Definitely.
At the moment, what are the main platforms you're using on social?
Main one is Instagram and Facebook. Those are the two mains.
Do you spend much money boosting or any money with the social with Facebook?
Facebook, yeah. We'll probably spend. It depends. It depends if we've got a good sale to promote or not. But it could be anywhere between $2,000 to $7,000 a month on Facebook boosting. We don't boost on Instagram, but Facebook, that's where we're boosting. Instagram's more the organic.
All right. Are you an auction type agent?
Majority auction.
Right.
Yeah.
And can I ask you, do you use any of the auction resources that are available now in digital products, whether it's people bidding online, whether it's contracts being completed? What do you use?
The whole thing, everything. So we obviously use Realtair to an auction now to enter in all of our bidders. They can bid online, so we have a camera set up with our auctioneer, Ben Mitchell. He obviously calls all of our auctions. We have it online as well, so sometimes we will have someone that's homesick. They'll bid online. So all pre-registration is done online. At the auction, at pre-auction, we've got an iPad set up. We enter their details through there. There's no paper format where you have to then re-enter them into the database. Contracts are all done online. All done on the iPad through Realtair. So as soon as the auction's done, it's already pre-formulated. So instead of having to write out the whole contract, wait for them to sign, then pack up and go, we're pretty much saying, sign here, you're done. We're going to the next auction. And at the same time, even if it doesn't sell at auction and it's 10 p.m. at night and we're doing a deal, instead of having to drive to Hurstville from the hills to go sign up the buyer and spend an hour and a half out of my night doing that, I can do it in a matter of 5 minutes from my bed in my PJs.
So have you sold properties while you're wearing pajamas at home?
Naked as well.
Wow. Wow. You take a photo and attach it to the contract of you naked? Nah.
You just got to make sure that it's situated where they can't see anything. Camera angles.
Let me ask you. So basically, from a tech perspective, Kevin, saying you're using digital introductions, which is your pre-listing kit.
Yeah,
that's giving you this perceived advantage, and whether it's true or not, they're seeing it as a perceived advantage because some people aren't even getting a pre-listing kit, and even the ones that are getting them. They're getting something that's clunky on paper, junk, really. And then in addition to that, you're doing digital price updates to your database.
Yeah, correct. So we're doing that too. So especially during lockdown, we were doing price update pictures to people we haven't even seen before as well. Especially even sometimes when we were talking to vendors and they're hesitant to have us out, we'll still do a pitch or a CMA pitch through Realtair. That way they have some information there as well. So pretty much in terms of Realtair, we use every single bit of it.
All righty. Can I ask you, as a guy your age, writing 2 million bucks GCI, what are the sacrifices that you've had to make in your personal life to be able to be doing what you're doing?
A lot. Now it's getting a little bit better. Obviously, once you have a team around you, it becomes a lot easier. But before I had that team, especially when I was really struggling, so I moved out of home as soon as I went out on my own. So I had no money, nothing. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to do something. So I said to myself, I'm going to work 7 days a week, 12-hour days until I, can afford not to. It got to the point where I think it was 6 or 7 months in of 7 days a week. And this is hats off to Josh Tesla, and I don't know how he does it, because I lost my mind. I was waking up on a Tuesday thinking it was a Friday. So hats off to JT. But that's the type of sacrifices we had to make to actually gain some traction. Now that it's even gotten to the point where you're starting to have traction and starting to have a roll on, the fact is you still have to make sacrifices. Yes, ideally I want to finish it, I have my last appointment at 6:30 every night, but you guys know the go. If there's someone that needs to buy a house and it's 10 p.m. at night, you've got to make some sacrifices and do what you need to do. But when I was starting off, I made the decision, well, if I only have to do it for a very short amount of time, after 1-2 years, I don't have to work 7 days anymore. I can go back to 6. I can stop doing the 14 days. I can go back to 10, which is where I'm at the moment.
So I had a quick question there from Michael Dooley. He's saying, with Facebook, are you doing targeted ads or are you boosting them? Are you using a digital agency or are you doing it yourself?
Yeah, so no digital agency. I spoke to a couple of digital agencies, and to be honest with you, this is just maybe I spoke to the wrong agencies. But the way I saw it is what they were telling me that they could do for me, I figured that you could just Google and YouTube and find out yourself, which I did. So at the moment, we're just doing target to my core area of Kellyville. So for example, if we put something up for sale, we'll do the whole of Kellyville from 18 years old to 70 years old. I don't care what age it goes to. I don't care what demographic. I just want it to that exact core area. At the same time, we're also starting to do retargeted ads to specific people or to specific PVs. So I've got a potential vendor list at the moment of about 250. We're going to start retargeting those specific people if they're on social media. That's going to be simply done by the marketing ladies in-house, where they download from Agent Box, the CRM that we use, their names, numbers, email addresses, and then we'll feed them to the back end of Facebook and retarget them that way.
Well, beautiful. I'm just getting, so Lisa agrees with you. Lisa Novak says, social yourself, control them.
Great. Big time.
Big congratulations on your journey so far. There's another Kevin there. By the way, everyone, what I'm going to do, and I have been doing, is putting up the link there for those of you. Yes, I'm an ambassador for Realtair. I simply have checked all the products out there, and I'm a big believer in having technology to give you time, scale yourself. I've just seen too many examples of real estate agents that have taken advantage of tech, and they're growing their business. And I've got to tell you, if you don't like change, you're going to hate extinction. I'm telling you straight. Now, mate, do you prospect?
Mate, I warm prospect. I don't cold prospect anymore. I think I should, to be honest with you, just being very honest with you, I should be doing a lot more prospecting. But at the same time, my team does pretty much everything. They rinse it. So my 3 guys, they'll make 70 connects per day. They'll book us over 10 appointments a day, which is good. I should be doing a lot more in terms of prospecting, but at the moment, I'm just chasing my warm leads and handling some other stuff at the moment.
How much have prices dropped in your market?
15 to 20%.
Is the market better in the last few weeks than it has been? I'm getting a lot of feedback from people saying there's a little bit more buyer energy.
Mixed. Certain properties, yes. Certain properties, no. But I think across the board, as an average, you've seen more people over the past 2 weeks come through your doors. That's throughout the office. I wish it was my houses that they were doing that to, but it seems to be only my colleagues they're going to.
Now, by the way, Realtair is giving people 3 months free access. 3 months free access. There are terms and conditions. If you go to that link, you'll be able to see it. Now, Kevin, has this whole is tech difficult? Like, let's assume populating and exchanging contracts.
Yeah.
Use Realtair. Is it hard to understand how to do it?
Took me 5 minutes to understand it. It's super easy, and I'm bad with computers, by the way. I'm super bad. It took me for only 5 minutes. It literally gives you the prompts. You follow the prompts. You can't muck it up.
All righty. Now, a couple of other things.
Yeah.
When you, and I'm going to get you off guard. I haven't given you, a lot of these questions I'm asking you. I just love asking them on the spot, because you get a nice non-rehearsed answer.
Let's go.
You miss out on a listing, right?
Yeah.
Do you get upset?
Not at all.
How do you handle it? What, do you ring the vendor and wish them all the best?
Yeah, like that's when I find out. I'll wish them luck when I find out. Really, more times than not, the clients that I deal with, they're courteous enough to call me to tell me. So at that point, I'll ask. But no, I just think next. When I was an assistant, I used to get very, very upset to the point where a couple of times I actually cried. And my boss at the time had a very, very stern chat with me and made it very clear that it wasn't, first of all, it wasn't on, but two, he's a firm believer in law of attraction, and the energy that you put out, you attract back in. And if you're negative about this situation, you're going to give out negative energy and you're going to attract more of it. So once I grasped that concept, if I lose a listing, it just wasn't for me. I'm just going to look for the next one. I lost probably the one listing I've been chasing since I started at Manor Real Estate, and I lost it 3 weeks ago. I had it in the bag. They told me it was mine. The courts then decided that I couldn't have it. They gave it to somebody else. It was heartbreaking, $3 million sale, and I didn't spend half a second thinking about it.
Buyer management in 2022 in a market that's changed. Are you doing more private inspections on properties, or you're just still doing open homes?
No, a lot more private appointments. I'd say a lot of the deals that we're closing at the moment, either pre-auction or private treaties or post-auction, a lot of them are done through the private inspections. Usually they're the second round inspections that are private, but we're going hard on privates at the moment.
Do you get stressed?
Extremely. That's why I have a psychologist.
Oh, you got a psychologist that you do work with. How often do you see the psychologist?
Every 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay. Face to face or Zoom?
Face to face. Face to face. Yeah.
And what are the things that you found a psychologist helps you with?
Everything. I was in a very bad place a few years ago, and she dragged me out of that bad place. And ever since then, even when times have been good, I continue to see her. I think mental health is something that a lot of people don't really talk. I know people say they talk about it, but they don't really understand it until you start to go through it. And then I think I think it's good to start seeing even a psychologist before things get bad. It stops it from getting that bad. And not trying to sound rude or anything, but it sometimes it can stop you from killing yourself. So, I see her once every week or two. I know a few guys in my office see some psychologists as well. So, massive recommendation for getting out there and actually talking to some, especially guys, because I just recently went through a pretty big breakup. My partner, obviously being a lady, she can talk to as many girls as she wants. It's a lot easier for her. As a guy, when we broke up maybe a month and a half ago, I felt like I can't talk to anybody because that's just being a male. And that's where the psychologist comes in handy and really helps out with this sort of stuff.
Can I ask you, do you you know, in real estate, there are periods where agents are flowing, they're in momentum, life's good, Kevin, got stock, it's getting you more stock, you're winning. And there are periods of time when you go off track, when things aren't happening, right? Is there any tips you can give when you're off track, how to get back on track?
Going through that right now, to be quite honest with you. So, yeah, five weeks ago I had the breakup and went off track. We lost some traction as I wasn't here. Fortunate enough, I had a couple of guys list a couple of properties for me, but now we're on the back foot, to be quite honest with you. We've got a few weeks leading up to the end of the year and have a good start next year. So I literally this week said, hey, like, I'm out of my place at the moment. Now we've got to go hard. It's just about making more calls than the guy next year. It's a numbers game to me.
Yeah, I can't, I can't stress the importance. When you're off track, I often find that agents tell me, Kevin, they go back to the basics and they pick up the phone and they start making the calls again. They start going to appointments again. And they get back in the game. There's a great saying. I think Alan Jones said it. When you're in a hole, the worst thing that you can do is to keep digging. Right. That's like the worst thing. And I think it also helps, Kevin, if you listen. Man, I got to tell you, someone showed me a photo. I'm at a conference in New Zealand today. I actually had 3 conferences in New Zealand today, and someone came up to me and showed me a photo. And they said, oh, this is the photo you and I took at ARIC in 2016. And I looked at it and, I definitely looked older. And I just said to that person, I said, you know what? I said, I'm having a look. Geez, a hell of a lot happens in 6 years. And he and she, they were a couple. They go, well, what's happened? I said, well, in those 6 years, I said, I've had 2 cancer diagnoses. I've had about 70 chemo sessions. I said, I buried my brother. I said, that all happened since that photo, right? And then they said something along the lines, oh, how do you cope with it? I said, well, I think what's happened is as you get older, Kevin, you begin to realize that even the worst of storms eventually come to an end. You realize that your current situation is not going to be permanent, that eventually it does turn, and you've got to hold on. But I just can't help but thinking to myself, when you've got a team behind you, and also it helps when you've got technology on your side, which means that you can get a contract signed by someone instead of you having to rock up there at 7 o'clock at night, not being in the mood to be client facing, right? It makes things bearable, right? It makes things bearable,
Made the past few weeks bearable, that's for sure.
Anyway, team, this has been Kevin Buchanan from Manor Real Estate. The office won an award. It's won a lot of awards. What's the biggest award it's won recently? I see it everywhere.
Rate My Agent, we ranked #1 in New South Wales for the past 2 years, and #2 in the country for the past 2 years from Rate My Agent.
Extraordinary. And you're one of the business owners there. What's his name?
Jay Buchanan.
Jay Buchanan. I think the guy. I think Jay. I was sitting next to Jay at Josh's wedding. I think the guy writes about 3-4 million in GCI, doesn't he?
5 something, I think. Yeah.
5. Extraordinary. Yeah, he went to school with a guy that I know, Michael, who's a developer in your Hills area, and he just said he was always going to be successful because he was sharp. He was sharp at school. You know what I mean? Yeah. He is. Anyway, listen to everyone. If you want to jump on Realtair, terms and conditions apply, but they are giving 3 months free. You've listened to a guy, high tech, high touch, using pretty much the whole system, and a 26-year-old guy writing over 2 million in GCI. Kevin Buchanan, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Thank you.